Yesterday, Focus on the Family founder James Dobson criticized Barack Obama for his interpretation of the biblical scriptures and accused the presidential hopeful of trying to import his religious views on others. Let's listen.
The Judeo-Christian ethic is still very much a part of what we believe and what we stand for, and he just essentially trashed all of those who hold to traditional Christian views.
We continue with Karl Rove. Karl, I was actually at that speech at the National Cathedral in June 28th of 2006. That's not what Barack Obama said at all. He said that he has to make sure that when he says something that's grounded in faith, which he finds nothing wrong with, that he's got to make that accessible to people of all faiths or even no faith so they understand where he is coming from. That was the whole thrust of what Obama was saying.
Well, I didn't hear his speech, and I haven't been able to get a complete text of it. But I would say this, stepping back for a minute, I'm not certain I'd be picking a fight with James Dobson.
No, he started. Dobson started it.
Well, I know. Dobson has a program. He gets heard broadly. And Obama went straight back at him today in pretty strong language. I'm not certain I would have engaged with Dobson. It just simply means that Dobson and Obama now are going to continue to have a dialogue.
Well, it was Dr. Dobson who went and discovered the speech that he gave a couple of years ago. And should Obama then not respond and risk, that word swift boating once again that keeps coming up? Should he just not respond when someone goes after him on that ground?
Well, look, there are degrees of response. It's one thing to say, with all due respect, we disagree. It's another thing to go back at him somewhat harshly, as I thought they did today, which is an open invitation to have Dobson continue the dialogue. Look, Obama seems to take the attitude that anything that is said and done about him, he's got to go out there and go straight at it. And it's unseemly for a guy who says, I'm a new kind of politics, when he stands up there and says, for example, that the Republicans are going to point out that I'm black. That smacks of the old-style politics. I mean, look, everybody in America who's got access to a television set knows he's an African-American.
But they go after him,
and frankly, I'd say it's...
they accuse him of being a Muslim, which he's not. And they say he's in the wrong church.
But who?
Well, Floyd Brown, for example, who put out this...
Well, he's accused John McCain of doing that, and the McCain campaign and the Republicans of doing that. And look, he ought to be more precise in his language about the people that he thinks are going after him in an unfair way. Otherwise, it looks like he is engaging in the same kind of broad brushstrokes that he accuses.
He's the one being attacked. I mean, this whispering campaign that he's a Muslim, or that he went to the wrong church, or that he knows all these supposed radicals. Well, this is the way he's been attacked ever since he's been on the public scene.
Alan, with all due respect, I think a lot of people do think for 20 years he was going to the wrong church. But look, he has every right in the world to respond to these. I'm just saying that he ought to be very careful in how he does this, so that he doesn't turn out to be doing, in response to attacks on him, what he condemns as unfairness, which is basically painting with a very broad brushstroke.
Hey, Karl, I can't think, as you say, of one prominent Republican, not one, that has brought up the issue or spread the idea that he's a Muslim, that has brought up one prominent Republican of note, Alan, is what I'll say. Not one prominent Republican that I know of that has ever brought up the issue of race. And that brings, here's my question. There seems to be an emerging narrative, a new one, Karl, and that is, we've all chronicled, quote, the flip-flopping and et cetera, et cetera. And it's that he's not really an agent of change, but he's become an agent of ambition. And I think it's becoming very obvious to people. He doesn't seem to have core values guiding him.
Yeah, look, last week we were treated to 3 examples of this. When he flip-flopped on the campaign finance, when after saying he would meet McCain anytime, anywhere, he stiff-armed him on the debates. We also saw it in his television ad, where he introduced his television ad on Friday, in which he said that he passed legislation to help wounded veterans who'd been ill-treated after they returned from combat. It was a reference to the 2008 Defense Appropriations Act, which he didn't even bother to vote for. He's got a little tagline there pointing out what law it was, what vote it was, and he wasn't even there to vote for it. So, there's this sort of self-centeredness and this, willingness to quickly change things. I mean, when he thought he couldn't raise $84 million, he said, I'll take the federal money and the limit that it places on my spending. When I figure out I can raise the money, I'm going to change, even though I said that it was absolutely imperative that everybody participate participate in the system, and of course I would. I mean, this shows a slipperiness that I don't think people find attractive.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think this new narrative is taking hold. All right, very funny article. You write for the Wall Street Journal out there today. The headline is, "The Greenest Show on Earth." The Democrats show up for Denver, and they talk about, they hired, for example, the first ever director of greening. Now, among other things, this is the problems they have. They can't buy fanny packs, they can't buy baseball hats, because there's conflicting. The baseball hats and fanny packs, they have to be made of organic cotton by unionized labor in the USA. They can't find them. Same with the baseball caps. They have to find biodegradable balloons. And my favorite chapter, at the Democratic Convention, no fried food on the theory.
No fried food.
No fried. I don't even want to go. I have to go work there. Each meal should include at least 3 of the following colors: red, green, yellow, blue, purple, and white. And 70% of the ingredients have to be organic or grown locally to minimize emissions of fuels burned during transportation. Is this the same party that wants to take over health care?
You'll be healthy if you eat properly.
What do you think?
You'll be healthy.
I don't need the government to tell me that, Mr.
I will
Combs.
buy you a Kentucky Fried Chicken dinner at the Democratic
They
Convention.
won't allow me. They won't allow me in.
Order
That's the problem. Carl, what do you think?
Food fight. Hey, there's a food fight going on the stage there. Come on, step back. Come on.
What do you make of that in a serious note?
It's sort of weird. I mean, for a convention, for a party that's having trouble raising money to pay for its convention, they're way behind their budget. It seems to me they ought to be focused on making certain that they got the things necessary to carry off the convention before they start being the nation's dietitian and making certain that everybody attending the Democratic Convention eats healthy for a week.
Yeah, that's all we need. The director of green in the White House, which may come in an Obama administration.
Carl's wearing a green tie.
I've been to every Republican National Convention since 1972, and I don't think I ate more than one healthy meal per convention.
I don't think I have in the ones I've been to. And I got to tell you something. I don't want to eat healthy at the convention. That's the only way I can put up, especially the Democratic convention. It'll solve my, ease my pain.
I'm going to bring a food taste to the Republican convention.
You may need it.
Thank you.
All right. Anyway, Carl, good to see you, my friend.
I'll be your food taster.
Oh,
I will be your food taster.
You got it.
All right. And coming up, we're going to meet the man who is rumored to be